what happened to where we saw this vow renewal and then we saw you post on Instagram that your ex was allegedly in situations with other women and possibly another child?
Okay, so I will say this because I'm not going to say much, but you are in a relationship, you love someone, and you think that your relationship is this way, right? And you think it's flowers and hearts and glitter falling from the sky, whatever you want to call it. And we had a great relationship, great, energy, everything. So when I found out that that wasn't the case, it was like, for me, I'm never going to be in a relationship. I don't care who you are, what you have, what you've accomplished in life, where I'm not being respected.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Order in the court. Because the ProfessorBlackmore.com courtroom is now in session, honey child. Hi there. I'm Professor Blackmore, and I want to welcome you to the first episode of the ProfessorBlackmore.com Paralegals podcast. And today, we will be reviewing a family law case because I recently received a question from a paralegal, legal assistant, or law clerk in a family and criminal law firm in the state of Georgia. And so, if you have any questions, you want to be sure to place them in the comment section below because you never know when Professor Blackmore might pop back through here and answer your questions. Now, in a previous episode of the ProfessorBlackmore.com Case Closed Legal Hot Topics podcast, I broke down all of the details surrounding this shocking announcement that Neo's wife, Crystal Renee, posted on Instagram several months ago, wherein she put him on full blast, talking about all of the women who sell their bodies to him unprotected. Oh, but anyway, y'all, let me stay focused on the professional matter at hand. Now, the divorce was finalized when the judge signed the divorce decree on January 31st, 2023. Now, if you want to know what I think about who got what, you'll have to stick around until the end. And if you want to get caught up on all of the hot tea surrounding Crystal Renee's explosive allegations, please watch my prior video. And I'll place a direct link in the description section below. But after you watch this video until the end, don't go over there now, you stay right here. Now, since the time of Crystal Renee's Instagram post, she has in fact filed for divorce from Neo. And so, let's review the court papers currently on file from the perspective of a paralegal, legal assistant, or whatever role you might be in at your law firm so that we can take a look at this and see how the paralegal would handle this divorce case. Now, the wife in this case is Sister Crystal, who has filed for divorce under the circumstances in general because she strongly believes that Neo was cheating on her. And that's allegedly, y'all. So, Sister Crystal is the petitioner and Neo is the respondent. And now his real name is Schaefer Smith. And so you can see him listed here as the respondent in this divorce proceeding by the name of Schaefer Smith. Now, all of the work that has taken place up until this moment has been completed by the paralegal or the legal assistant. And so, if you're the legal assistant or paralegal for the attorney representing Crystal Renee, you know that the petition didn't type itself. You drafted the documents and you did all of the edits that were requested by the attorney. Once it was finalized, you probably had to electronically file it with the court. Once filed, and once you have your summons that was issued by the court clerk, you will want to be sure to file a copy in the client's file. And you always want to be sure to file your conformed file marked documents in the client file because this is your proof that the document has been processed by the court's clerk. And you also want to notify the attorney that the lawsuit has been successfully filed by providing the attorney with a copy of all of the file stamped documents. Now, this is what my computer drive client file looks like. I specifically label my file marked documents with a date in the format as you can see here. I don't use any zeros in front of the numbers. So if it's March 1st, 2023, I type 2023-3-1. No zeros in front of the 3, no zeros in front of the 1. And so if it's March 12th, 2023, I would type 2023-3-12. And when you do this, when I click the name column, all of my documents will line up in numerical orders. And so as you can see here, when I click this name column here, all of my documents will line up in order, in date order, with the last document that I filed. So I can easily go to this file and see here what's going on in this case and what has been filed with the court and what has not been filed with the court. Because as you can see here, whenever I have a file stamped document or whenever a document has been file marked and processed by the court, I put this word conformed here. So I can tell the difference between my documents that have not yet been filed with the court and those that have been filed with the court. So before I file that document with the court, I may have just a regular version of it. As you can see here, this affidavit of service. This is my finalized copy before I filed it with the court. But once I have my file marked copy back from the court, I'm going to file it here and I'm going to name it with the word conformed in front so that I can know that that is a file marked copy of that document. But as the attorney, I would also want to have these documents filed in my OneNote law firm notebook, because anything in my OneNote client file will be available for me to see wherever I am. For example, if I'm the attorney representing the petitioner wife in this case, and I'm in the grocery store or anywhere else, and I might see Neo possibly with another woman kissing and hugging, I can quickly pull up this file and see the entire client file. I can go to my case notes section here in my client file within this OneNote law firm notebook and snap a quick photo that will upload straight to my client file. So I just go to the place where I want that photo in my notes. And snap a quick picture. And once I snap that picture, all I have to do is hit done. And that picture will show up right here in my client file. And it will be available to everyone in my office who is sharing this notebook with me. And so if you're the paralegal for Crystal Renee's attorney and you file your petition with the court, now you want to go ahead and file a copy also in your OneNote law firm notebook for the attorney. And so all you have to do is go over to your family law cases where you have your Neo case filed. And one thing that I want to say about having your case files filed in your civil law notebook is you can always just quickly add a new client here by going to one of your cases that maybe you like. Maybe you already have a file set up for your family law cases saved somewhere else. You can go over to that setup, or you can just copy one of your other cases and you want to right click on it and just hit copy. You come over to family law and then you can just come here and right click and hit paste. Once it pastes the new client file here, then you can just simply go up and change the name to whatever you want to change it to. And you have a new case file that has all of your regular file sections that you have in your regular cases in your office. Okay, but that's just to show you how to do that. I'm going to delete that because we don't want to have that in this particular case file. And so it's going to move it to my deleted notes. That's one of the things about OneNote is it doesn't give you a hard delete if you change your mind and you want to go back and get that file later on and bring it back. You'll have the ability to do that. Now, we're here in our Neo case file and we want to file our petition for divorce. So we want to go down to our pleadings index here. And then what you want to do is you want to go to the place where you want that document to reflect. So we're here in our pleadings index. If I didn't have this space already here, you would have to make a new subpage section here. And you do that simply by clicking this plus sign here. It'll create a new page right below the page where you are already having your cursor resting. If it's here, it'll place a new page section right below it. But here we already have our page section. We want to now file our plaintiff's or petitioner's petition for divorce here. And so I want to go up to this tab and I want to hit Insert Printout. Then I want to go out to the place where my client file is currently. In my documents. And I want to file a copy of my conformed or my file marked petition and summons. And so now first I want to do my petition. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to select printout rather than just select file here, because OneNote will place a actual printout of that document here. In addition, up here at the top, it will provide an actual copy of the file if I want to share or print that file or whatever I may want to do with the actual file copy here. But I also have a printout here. So I always like to file a printout, and I can create links to these documents within my index. And so to do that, I go back up to my pleadings index. And I just want to show you that you can place this link on the actual words here in the document name, the tab number, or even on the numbers in the date, wherever you want to place this. But before you do that, you have to go down to the page where the document is. You right click on it, and then you want to click on the selection that says copy link to page. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to go back up to my pleadings index. If I want to place this on the name of this in the document name column, then I just select it and then I right click on it and I hit paste. And as you can see here, it'll create a link to that document so that when I come here to my index, I can just click on it and it'll take me straight to the document. Now, before I proceed on, I hope you'll consider donating to this video by using my Cash App or Venmo, $ Professor Blackmore on Cash App or at Professor Blackmore on Venmo. And so now I also want to file my summons here. And so I'm going to go up to my pleadings index and I want to file my summons right under my petition. So I'm going to go to my petition and I'm going to hit plus sign so that I can create a new page. And I'm going to name this 3 summons. All right. Now, I am going to go ahead and move this here. And I want this to be 3 summons because it's number 3 on my list here. All right. So now I'm going to go to the place where I want this summons. I'm going to go up to my Insert tab, click Print Out. Then I'm going to look for my Conform Summons. And now I have a copy of the file marked summons here. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and right click on this page and copy the link to this page. Go back up to my index, and I'm going to select summons in my index, right click on it, and paste the link here. And so now that you have your summons, it will be your responsibility to make sure arrangements are made to ensure that the defendant is served with all of the initial documents in the case. Now, you and the attorney will decide the best method to use to serve the defendant based on the rules of your jurisdiction, but most jurisdictions have a legal procedure in which the sheriff may serve legal process in civil litigation matters. But due to the limited resources of the sheriff's office and the length of time that it would take to complete service, most attorneys opt for service completed by a private process server. Now, a summons is usually served and processed by a law enforcement official like a sheriff, but even if your attorney would prefer service by a private process server, you must still make sure that the private process server serves the defendant with a copy of the summons, because the summons officially notifies the defendant that they have been served, in addition to how and where to respond to the allegations in the lawsuit. So, if you're using a private process server, it will be your responsibility to make those arrangements with the private process server to serve the defendant or the respondent. And once served, the process server will provide you, usually with some type of sworn document, swearing to and providing the details of the name and age of the person who the papers were given to, the date and time when the papers were served, the address where the papers were served, and other important information. Now, you will want to be sure to file this important document in the client's file and notify the attorney that the papers have been successfully filed. And it will be a good idea to provide the attorney with a copy of the executed return of summons if you're using the sheriff's office, or the affidavit of service if you're using a private process server, so that the attorney can confirm that everything is in order. And so I'm going to file this pleading in the pleadings index of my OneNote Law Firm Notebook client file. But before that, I want to go back up here and file the motion that Crystal Renee filed for interim alimony and attorney's fees and child support. So we want to go to the place where we want that document. It's going to be right here. We're going to call it number 2, petitioner's motion for interim alimony. I want to go and click on the place where I want the document to reflect. I'm going to go to the Insert tab. I'm going to click Print Out. I'm going to look for my document. Here it is. Okay, so again, while I'm already here, I'm going to go ahead and right click so that I can copy the link to this page so that I can now include this in my index as well. You want to select it again, you right click on it, and you want to hit paste. And so here is our conformed affidavit of service, so you can see what it looks like. And it is just a sworn document that is provided by the private process server that confirms how the person served the particular document. So this is our affidavit of service, and so we want to make sure that we have a copy of this also in our OneNote client file. So I'm going to come here. You want to put your date for the document. And you want to put now that I have a non-conformed copy of my affidavit of service filed, the attorney would most probably instruct you to file the executed summons if you're using a sheriff, or this non-conformed affidavit with the court, which lets the court know that the defendant has been officially served. And once you file the affidavit of service with the court, you'll want to be sure to file it in your OneNote law firm notebook so that the attorney will have a conformed copy of the affidavit of service in the law firm notebook as well. And so now let's do that. So now I have my affidavit of service here. I'm going to come down. I've also filed it on the same day, and now I have my conformed copy back from the court, because that's what happens when you have electronic filing. Things come back the same day sometimes. And so now I'm going to file that here. I'm going to add a new page and call it Conformed Affidavit of Service. Go to my spot where I want the document, insert, printout. I want to go out to my conformed affidavit of service. And now I have a conformed copy of my affidavit of service. Before I filed it, here is the non-conformed copy. So those are just some kinds of ways that you may process documents in your law firm. Now, the attorney would also expect you to calendar the date for the deadline when the defendant or respondent's response or answer is due to be filed with the court. This is going to be different in different jurisdictions. And so, now that Neo has been served, if you're the legal assistant for the attorney representing Neo, you will probably be asked to assist in drafting the response or answer and any edits. Before doing so, If you're working for this particular attorney, he or she will also expect you to calendar the deadline when the response or answer is due to be filed with the court. Now, this is very important because if it is not timely filed, the petitioner could move for a default judgment against the respondent, which would be critical in a case wherein the petitioner is asking for alimony, child support, and to be awarded the house and custody of the children. Now, once the response or answer is finalized, you will be responsible for filing the response or answer with the court as the paralegal who is working with the attorney representing Neo. Now, that attorney would be interested in seeing the confirmation once the document is filed with the court. It would also be your responsibility to make sure that the confirmation and the filed document is filed in the client file in your office. So I'm going to file this also in the pleadings index of my OneNote Law Firm Notebook client file. So I want to also go to that place, hit plus, and I'm going to call this 6. Respondent's answer. I'm going to go to the place where I want that, hit insert, print out, and let's see if I can find the respondent's answer and counter petition. Then I'm going to get my link for this, copy link to page, and go back up to my index. Go back and look at the date. So this document was filed on September the 6th. And so that's the date that I want to use in my pleadings index. Now that I have my link, I want to go ahead and select, right click, and paste my link in there. I also want to get my link for my conformed affidavit of service as well. Right click, copy link, select, right click, and then hit paste. Now, on January the 31st, 2023, the judge signed the final judgment and decree of divorce in the Neo divorce case, and they have clearly sealed the details of this record, but I can glean some clues from this docket entry that they tried to mask with all of these extraneous numbers and letters. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and file my judgment of my divorce decree in my client file. So I'm going to go ahead and file this as well. Actually 2023, January 31st. So I want to add my new page and call it Then go to the place where I want it, insert, printout. Select my file, and if I want these files to be ordered in the latest file first, I can hit that order and it'll reorder those documents. But here I have my divorce decree, I have my docket sheet, and I have my conformed final judgment. So that's the one that I want. And now that I have that there, I can right click on it so that I can copy the link and add it to my index as well. Right click on it and paste the link. So you must have enough practice with doing that. And if there are other things that you'd like me to talk about, please leave your comments in the comment section below. But what I want to say about this divorce decree is that I can see that attorney's fees were awarded. I can see that the parties were probably ordered to pay each of their own court costs. It talks about interest. It talks about interest on some other award. There is principal on some type of monetary award won. And it says monetary award and or property award 0. So it also says property award 0. And all of this is clearly telling me, obviously it would be difficult to say for sure, but it's telling me that some type of monetary award was clearly made when it says monetary award 1. Now the decree does make reference to the alimony issue, and there's no way that Neo got out of this divorce without paying some amount of alimony if he wants this girl to keep her mouth closed. But that's just my opinion, y'all. And as y'all know on here, I just ask and report and I let you decide. So, do you think Neo was able to slip out of this divorce without being ordered to pay alimony after the big stink his attorneys made about trying to get a gag order placed on this case? Please let me know by leaving your comments in the comment section below. And I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up, especially to all of my paralegals out there. If these tips have been useful, please give me a big thumbs up. And please also consider donating to my channel by using Cash App or by clicking the super thanks heart button below. And I want to ask that you please also subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more business, law office, productivity tips, and whenever I come back with hot tea on any type of divorce case or any other type of case. And stay tuned, paralegals, because I will be previewing my Paralegals OneNote Notebook. And if you'd like to purchase a copy of one of my OneNote templates, please visit me on my website at ProfessorBlackmore.com. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram.